Enter Call of Duty. It's no secret that people are very, very frustrated with your game. A lot of people are just not playing it, especially when we have options like Arc Raiders and we have Battlefield 6, and then they just put out a brand new BR. There are options to play for the first time in a long time, and you guys have competition. So what I'm going to do today in this video is I'm going to talk about what I think you need to do leading up to Black Ops 7, during the release, and throughout the year for every single one of these modes that are in the game. So people will return to your game, people will fall back in love with Call of Duty, and there'll be positivity in the community once again. Because right now it doesn't feel like there's anything positive, even if there are great changes. So let's get right into the video. Yes, there are 4 categories that we are going to speak on today: campaign, multiplayer, Warzone, and zombies. And we're going to cover it all. And I feel like I have really, really good suggestions. And I'd actually like to hear feedback from Call of Duty. I know a lot of the developers, I think they tend to watch some of my videos. So I would like to see if you are watching this, please DM me on Twitter and let me know what you think about my thoughts. Also, if you guys are in the comments, make sure you're commenting and giving feedback to Call of Duty. We're going to use this as like a Reddit board, a springboard, a comment section to kind of get these guys, their brains turning a little bit. Now, obviously, campaign is something that maybe a lot of you guys don't really play very much anymore. And I totally get it. I mean, let's be real. The last couple have not been very good at all. I mean, maybe the last one that was semi-enjoyable or great in general was Cold War. It was like MW19 and Cold War were very good. And then ever since then, it's just been like, okay, these are awful. What the heck happened? Here's what I think. They've made a little bit of they've been talking about this, hyping it up, this end mode in the at the end of the campaign. Like, I think it's the final mission, and it's almost like from what I see and what I understand, it feels like this is a semi like a DMZ style where you're going to go in and try to get something and extract out. You're going to be playing against real people. I don't really know how that's going to work, because they really haven't explained how it's going to work. And to me, if it's this something that it's like really important to the end of the campaign, I feel like it needs to be talked about, especially because at COD Next, it sounds like they're going to support it and have like DLC for it. There's going to be like another mission or 2 after the fact in the same similar style. So I'm not sure why they're not speaking on this, whatever it is. Now, here's where I think they're really making a mistake, because, and we're going to talk about Battlefield and Arc Raiders a lot in this video. So if I call back to them, just know it has to happen, because that's what people are playing right now. So obviously with Battlefield and Arc Raiders just having a crazy amount of hype, it feels like we're just doing these little dev talks, and it's great. The information's fine, and there's nothing like really bad about them. They're actually pretty good. Most of the time it's good news. But I think the biggest thing that they're really missing out on in campaign is the ability to play it early. Now, if you're maybe new to the franchise, or like maybe you just don't pay attention to campaign, in Modern Warfare 2, maybe the best thing that Infinity Ward did that year was they allowed you, if you pre-ordered the game, to play the campaign a week early. For me, I just think that this is an extremely awesome idea. Now, they did the same thing with Modern Warfare 3, and we'll get into that in a second. But during Modern Warfare 2, there was so much hype around playing this campaign. I streamed it live. A lot of people were watching. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was pre-ordering the game because they thought, wow, I want to play the campaign. This is great. And then also, there's another component to that I feel like they're missing. When you boot into the game and you get it on November 14th, everybody goes to their certain section. They go to zombies or Warzone or multiplayer. Most people nowadays do not do the campaign. Unfortunately, I'm still one of those guys that I like to beat the campaign. I like to know the story, because usually the story comes and creeps in on the other modes, and you kind of know like, oh, that guy's there and that guy's there. So make these campaigns important again. Make it be like, hey guys, we're going to release this early, and you know, you get access to that end event. And right now I feel like Call of Duty would be insane not to do this. Now, I know they haven't announced it yet. Now, what my thought for it would be is you shadow drop it. Now, I feel like in today's world, shadow dropping seems to be the best play. Now, with Battlefield, again, we're going to talk about these games a lot. We all kind of knew that they were getting BR because of the leaks and all that, but they never talked about it. They never covered it. They never announced it in season 1. They just shadow dropped it on whatever day that was, the 28th, I guess. And to me, that just felt like it was like, this is cool. Even though it was semi-expected, it was still like this unexpected feeling of, wow, this is a brand new game and we really don't know much about it because there's not a lot of trailers. And I think Call of Duty would be just idiotic to not release this early. Shadow drop it a week prior and be like, hey, anybody that pre-ordered the game, you now have access to the campaign. Watch how many people pre-order your game and try to go play that campaign early. Trust me. Now, I know somebody's going to argue back like, hey, the campaigns have been terrible. That's probably why they're avoiding it. There's cross progression. I don't care. You gotta, it's going to be, if it's talked about bad a week early, it doesn't matter because it's going to be talked about bad a week when it actually comes out. Does that make sense? Maybe not. But like, if the campaign sucks, we're going to find out eventually that it sucks. Let us play it early. At least you got more eyeballs on your game, especially now. We need the eyeballs. So that's what I would do with campaign. Explain your end mode and release it early, and shadow drop it release early. There's also been talks that the game was going to release early and that never went into fruition. Maybe that was the campaign that they were talking about. Maybe it still happens. I don't know. But let's move on to the next subject. Again, probably why, well, I think a lot of you guys like when I do the campaigns, but probably a lot of you guys are here because of the multiplayer side of things. And this is such an important year for Call of Duty. Sadly, I think that this year is going to be a lot like MW3, where at the end of the year, you're going to go like, wow, that was actually a really good product and they did a really good job. But because of how, number one, why it's back-to-back titles of the same exact game, I don't know why Call of Duty or Activision thought that that was a good idea. It's never a good idea. It's never been a good idea. 3 back-to-back jetpacks, bad idea. Bad Modern Warfare results, bad idea. So we are going to need the content to go absolutely insane this year. Now, from, like I said earlier, the dev talks, it seems like that's what they're going to be going for. Season 1 apparently is supposed to have the most maps of all time. They're all 6v6. They're not these little gunfight maps. The guns, we're going to get a bunch of guns in season 1. And, overall, I'm just saying this has to happen more frequently. It can't just be a season 1 is great and then season 2 is like, all right, that was all right. Season 3, it's a little worse. And then it just goes down the line. Every season has to be a banger. It's just that simple. There is too much competition right now for you guys to have your foot off the gas and going, hey, everybody plays COD. And you know what? The stats may show that. But I'm telling you, I think this COD HQ is also kind of fudging the numbers a little bit. It's like, yeah, Call of Duty is still the #1 played game on PlayStation. Yeah, but their COD HQ has 5 games in it. So it's like, yeah, of course 5 games are going to be better than Fortnite or 2K. So I think that's a little misleading. And it's like, I would love to see Black Ops 6 numbers. I don't know anybody that's still playing that game. I don't know anybody that made it throughout the entire year. So let's talk about that. I think there needs to be multiple maps given out. I'd like to see them almost apply, instead of these new season updates, where they come out once a month. Why don't we just get okay, season 1 is like what, a month after launch? Why not just give us like a new map every week instead of that season 1 update? It's like, I would rather you just be periodically feeding it in. Like, hey guys, this week we're gonna give you a new map and a new gun or a new whatever, new challenge. Rather than, okay, it's season 1 and you get all this crap at the same time, and then you kind of get like overwhelmed because you're like, okay, I gotta try this, I gotta do this, I gotta go to that level, if they just fed like Meltdown 1 week after, just like they do with Nuketown. Nuketown always gets added like 1 week after the game comes out. Why not just do that with all the maps? You got Meltdown the following week. You got, I'm trying to think what other maps there were. I can't think right now, but I'm throwing a random map. Then Firing Range the next week. And in that you're releasing guns, and then you're releasing things that you can try to unlock, like aftermarket parts. And we can talk about aftermarket parts. Apparently they're in this game. They're going to be something that you can grind for. That's what they've said. They kind of said that in Black Ops 6 a little bit, so I'm a little bit nervous that, you know, they're saying it's going to be there, but will it actually be there? I hope. But if that's the case, again, giving us something to do and unlock and play that's fresh and exciting. Don't hold any content for your next game. Don't hold any content for season 7. Like, this thing, I know I said it needs to be banger season after banger season, but realistically, the first 3 or 4 seasons have to be amazing. Go back and look at like MW19 season 1 and 2 and 3. They were some of the most enjoyable, fun content that I've ever seen and I've ever played. It was so good. So with all that to say, we need to get a bunch of new content. There needs to be things unlocked. Now, I know that there's camo grinding in this game, and the camos look excellent. I'm so excited. I'm going to be doing a camo grind. First time in my entire life, I'm going to be doing it YouTube documenting like it's some sort of, you know, like it's some sort of crazy event, but I've never done it before. So I think it'll be fun to do that. And then on top of that, like, one thing that I think really struggled in BO6 was the fact that I feel like the meta did not shift very often. And you could prove me wrong, because I felt like when I came back on that game and got that gun, Dark Matter or whatever it was the other day, it was still, the people were still taking me out with the PDW. And I'm like, no. We have to find a happy medium where these guns get worked around. And again, I'm not for the nerfing the gun to just take it out of the rotation. Buff your other guns. So like if there's a really if there's a gun that's not powerful, don't take the PDW down to its level, go up. And I think that's what OG COD did so well. Like the MW2, OG MW2, it was like you could use the ACR, the SCAR, the UMP, like all of them were kind of like overpowered, which made the game more fun rather than like, let's just all balance them and make them very like mid. Like, okay, that's kind of boring though. So I think new metas, new content, new maps, and also I think the maps, if they're gonna remaster maps and bring and do new ones, they need to be slightly bigger. I still feel like the beta maps were not that big. I'm all for, you know, Call of Duty being this arcade shooter, quick action, but there needs to be a balance that they find with these. I always say Black Ops 3 was a jetpack COD. There was wall bouncing and boosting, but it felt like the maps matched that style of movement. So, you know, like I'm thinking of like Combine, which was a small map, but it still played decent. But then they had like Evac and Fringe, and they all played so much better because you weren't cracked. And part of it is sliding. I'm telling you, they need to nerf the sliding. It is, they said that they're gonna do it. I think they need to do it even more. I haven't even played it yet, but I would love to see sliding go back to that BO3 where there was a little bit of a, like you couldn't just slide through every gunfight. Slide. You gotta make that like, I want it to be running again is how I get into gunfights, not slide, run. So yeah, it's just multiplayer, I think is gonna have the best year because it seems like they're gonna have content spread pretty well. But yeah, I think that's what they need to do for that. So let's now move on to Warzone. And I'm going to keep this very simple because a lot of you guys don't follow me for Warzone now. But here, let me just give you a brief history. I played Warzone like to start my content creation career. 2020, 2021, I was making TikToks on the meta and I was loving Verdansk and Rebirth Island. I love Battle Royale. I do. I just don't like what Battle Royale has become. Battle Royale has become, at least Call of Duty, has become how quickly can I get my loadout and then either camp or just go for like 80 kills. And if I die, I get bought back 65 times because it's only $4,000 to buy back. And it's like, it's kind of brain rot. I know I've been using that lately, but Call of Duty did have a strategy at one point. I know Call of Duty's always been a little brain rot, But back in the golden age of COD, and even like the, you know, early, even like Black Ops 3 and like World War II, like these games, you had to have a little strategy. It wasn't just sprint at the other side or sprint at the opponent. And there was like positioning that mattered. So I think this is what I'm nervous about. They said that they're going to bring back Blackout. It's going to be called like Warzone Blackout. But I am nervous that they're going to do this and it's going to be like not exactly what Blackout was. Now, if you didn't play Blackout, you missed out. Number one, probably the greatest BR map of all time. I think they should just bring that map back. It was fantastic. There was literally, I don't think I have one negative thing to say about the Blackout map. Perfect color, saturation, looked good. Bunch of POIs that you would recognize, like Firing Range and Nuketown and Hijacked. And, you know, they had like a Ray in there, I think, from BO1. So just an amazing map. And what they did so well, don't get me wrong, there was a couple things that were bad in that game. I'm not going to say they were perfect, but they did it so well where you had to find a gun and you had to like upgrade it. You just didn't go to a buy station and buy your loadout 30 seconds into the game. You know, now Warzone has these areas where it's like a gold area where you can get $10,000 in 5 seconds. And you have your loadout in the first literally minute of the game. What I loved about Blackout was like, okay, a KN-44 or a MAUG shotgun was one of the best guns in the game. You had to go and try to find that, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. You might have to rock the MP40 or, you know, what was it back in that? Was it the ICR? Or was it the ICR, MCR or something like that? So you didn't necessarily get that gun. And it was just like, it's almost like the Fortnite feeling when you open that chest and it's like the gold scar. And you're like, yes! Like, that's the part of BR that's just kind of fallen out. And what I kind of like about the Battlefield BR just a little bit is they brought something in where you can like upgrade your guns. So like you can have a green gun, and I don't really know exactly how it works, but I just know that you can have a green gun. There's like things that you can do, and then you get like an upgrade, and then you can upgrade it to a blue gun. I don't mind the way they did that, actually. I think that's very good. Now, there's still loadouts in Battlefield 6 BR, which I can't stand that. I hate that they're doing that. I thought they were going to go the other way. So anyway, let's just go to zombies, and I got a few more things at the end that I really need to talk about that are very important. So zombies, I'm just going to keep this simple because you guys know me. I'm not a big zombies guy. But I was at one point, and you guys know what it was. It was because it was the classic zombies. It was the pistol. It was the urgency. It was the point system. It was trying to get to the power to unlock everything, and then you get your perks. Now, from what I hear, that new mode where it's going to be semi like that is locked behind an Easter egg. But I think if one person in the world does the Easter egg, it unlocks for everybody. Just have it at launch. Like, for goodness sake, it'll probably be at launch because Mr. Dalek or somebody will do the Easter egg like 5 minutes into the game. But it's just like, why put that behind that? And why not just commit to being able to play OG zombies? I don't know what their obsession is with the new era of zombies, but I just think that people like myself would actually create zombies content if it wasn't Warzone-ified, plates, and just that whole like style of zombies. And I just can't get into it. I refuse to get into it. I've tried it multiple times, and it just, every time I play, I'm like, nah. I'm starting with my loadout. There's no urgency. There's no like scare factor like there was in World at War or Black Ops 1. It's like, all right, got my loadout, got 2 plates. Let's shoot zombies for an hour. Again, it reminds me of the Warzone loadout thing. You get it right away if it makes it boring. So that's the 4 modes. Now, overall, there's still the 2 or 3 things here at the end that I think are probably more important than any of this stuff, to be honest. Number 1, we're going to talk about skill-based matchmaking just shortly here. As you all know, they've removed it or made it less strict and more like connection-based. You have to keep it. You got to keep it throughout the whole year, and you can't rug pull this thing, okay? Call of Duty. I know Infinity Ward is making your next game. They like to do whatever the heck they want to do. You got to keep this system in place, okay? This is what Call of Duty is all about, the variety. You play a sweaty team, you play a couple bots, The bots get beat up. They want to get better. Sometimes they do fine because they're on a team with a really good player, and it creates the variety. Multiplayer needs variety. Not everybody wants to continue to be a 1.0 KD going 75 to 74 in team deathmatch. It's not fun. And you're making it like a simulation. And we want to have fun. So SBMM, do not get rid of it. Or I'm sorry, get rid of it. Don't bring it back. And don't bring it back in future titles. Let this be the base. Shout out for Treyarch for pushing for it. And next up is the anti-cheat. I think personally, this is very important. Now, I feel like I have seen Battlefield do a phenomenal job. I don't know if it's just because there's a lot of battle dads out there, no offense, but like, I haven't seen anybody complain about hackers, and I haven't seen anybody complain about hackers in their BR, which is free. Same situation as Call of Duty. Now, is that because of this new FTP thing that you have had to install on your PC in Call of Duty and Battlefield? Hopefully that helps. I know Battlefield has done a good job of Chronuses are detected now. DS4 is detected. So you can get banned for a lot of crap nowadays. So that is what Call of Duty needs to do. We need to get that trust back, because they've lost the trust of the community over the years. And honestly, can you blame people for, like, why would you boot into a Warzone match where you go the entire thing and make it to the end and you get killed by a hacker? It just doesn't make sense. Why would I play that game? So you got to bring people back with all the content. You got to bring back people with all the good decisions. You got to bring back people with a working anti-cheat. You got to bring back that classic COD feel and community. And then the last thing is the collabs. I know this is kind of like a hot topic right now, and it always has been, but you've been very stern with not bringing carry forward, and you said that you've canceled some collabs in Black Ops 7 that is like, you know, they were teetering a little bit too crazy, so they got rid of them. You gotta stay with that. You cannot in 3 months throw it out the window again, because BO6 didn't start like that. If you remember, BO6 was pretty grounded, and then I don't know what the first one was. I try to let this game kind of go past my mind, but and then it just unleashed. And so I'm hoping BO7 does not do the same thing, and they just like learn from their mistakes. Let's keep it civil. Let's bring, like, I've already saw the Prestige 1. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was from BO2. It was a character in BO2, the reward for prestiging. Keep it like that. Keep it level-headed. Bring back characters from the old games as prestige stuff. Do not do anything crazy, please. I'm begging you guys. That's gonna hurt worse than any of this other stuff, because as soon as somebody sees Homer Simpson running around in Call of Duty, it's gonna get magnified times 10, and people are just gonna go, yep, I'm done with that game already, uninstall. So with all that to say, guys, that is my rant to Call of Duty. Right before we're entering into Black Ops 7, like I said, Call of Duty content has been completely down bad. It's kind of depressing. It's frustrating as a creator, but it's kind of like they've kind of done it to themselves. And then when a game doesn't do well, people leave. They're not interested in the content, so it puts me in a bad spot. So it's like I'm pleading for my life out here sometimes, to be honest. So, you know, that's kind of the reason we've been focusing on the second channel, T-Dog 2, a little bit, playing other games over there. Just because I know that maybe Call of Duty, you know, isn't forever like I thought it once was, but hopefully this year is something that they take the feedback from the people, the creators, you guys in the comments, and we have a great year. Wouldn't that be great to have a fun Call of Duty year where not a lot of people are complaining? One can hope, right? Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, leave your feedback down below. Hopefully the Call of Duty developers will watch this video. Leave a like if you can as well. Subscribe, because we need it. All right, we'll see you in the next one.